Ladies and gentlemen, hey, hi, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. Within Warzone right now, obviously a lot of players are always looking to use the weapons that are going to be the easiest. And quite frankly, those often classify as the lowest recoil options. What gun can you pick up, work very little to stay on target, and just absolutely fry with? And today, I wanted to break down the top 5 easiest or lowest recoil meta loadouts we currently have in the game. Starting first with a pretty ridiculous one, all things considered. This is the Kastov 545, essentially no recoil loadout. This is one of the most effective close to mid-range weapons in the game. When it's low recoil like this, you could also use it very effectively over long range as well. This thing is pretty crazy, all because of an aftermarket part. I'm going to shoot this. I'm not even going to control the recoil here whatsoever. This is the actual recoil pattern. There quite literally is none. I didn't pull down on my thumbstick there whatsoever. This gun has no recoil whatsoever, and that is all thanks to the Jack Requiem aftermarket part that reduces every ounce of recoil the gun has. So this quite literally has an argument for the single easiest weapon to use in the entire game. Now, in order to accommodate that, like I said, we want to focus on obviously optimizing it for some like mid to long range there. I like the 2.5 times Eagle Eye. If you're just simply focused on like Resurgence, you could use a NIDAR, a glassless, whatever optic you're comfortable with there. Obviously, you want to be using an extended mag, so we go for the basic 60. You definitely have to go for high grain here. Unfortunately, using the Requiem aftermarket part does end up hurting your velocity, and it takes away your ability to use a barrel, so you're stuck at only a 750 velo. That's not incredible when you start fighting at like 40, 50, 60 meters, but if you're a more aggressive like Resurgence player, or even more aggressive on the big map, this could still work. And then lastly, I go for the sonic suppressor. This will give us the best velocity possible out of this. Obviously, those recoil cons do not matter whatsoever. So this is a pretty unique MW2 weapon because of this aftermarket part. Ends up being ridiculously easy. Unfortunately, its long range efficiency is a little bit lacking, but you can definitely make it work. And right alongside that, we have the counterpart in the Kastov 762, which also has access to this aftermarket part. So it's going to end up being the same deal here. You can shoot this again. I'm not controlling recoil whatsoever, and it's going to end up not moving at all. It is 100% accurate here. There's no shake, no up and down vertical recoil pattern. Thing is just an absolute laser beam, all things considered. So gonna basically be the same setup here, since the Requiem is a little bit limiting in what you want to use and what you can use. Obviously, again, I got the 2.5 times Eagle Eye. Glassless would also be very effective here as well, just for the firing aim stability. You only have a 40 round extended mag on the 762. Its fire rate's a little bit slower, so kind of makes sense there. Again, we do want high grain. This is a 794 velo. It's a tad bit better, still not in the area I'd love to have it. You know, ideally 900, 950, 1000 for long range would be great, but you could still get by with that. You're just gonna have to pay a little bit more attention to the hit reg, and the hit scan range won't be as great there. Again, I'm also using sonic suppressor on here for that better velocity, but the fact that the Jack Requiem is this powerful in making weapons so low recoil, I think is really cool, and obviously it fits perfect in this style of niche that we're looking at here today. And by the way, as we're going through all the weapons and setups, if you enjoy this video, if you find it helpful at all, do me a favor, drop a like. It's always really appreciated. Much love as always to everyone who takes the time to do so. And if you're new to the channel, or maybe you have not subscribed yet, let's change that. Every single day, this is your one-stop shop for news, updates, patch notes, meta breakdowns like this. So feel free to hit that subscribe button to always stay up to date. Next up here, we've got the SVA 545. However, instead of just using the standard SVA, as I'm sure plenty of you know, if you end up going into hyper burst mode, which is actually just toggling it over to semi-auto, you can end up spamming this thing, and as fast as you can spam it, it's not going to move. So it's going to be very similar to the Jack Requiem, where its recoil really doesn't go anywhere, but only in the hyper burster semi-auto mode. If you were to change it into full auto and you don't control the pattern, obviously it's not a crazy recoil pattern. It's more of like a, you know, up and to the left style thing, but obviously it has recoil. Whereas in hyper burst, you can spam it super quick and stay on target without really having to work much. So if you're able to get a quick trigger finger off, and on this thing, the fire rate, you know, cap is generous, you can definitely spam this thing fast. It's going to be really good. So for that reason, we can pretty much just optimize this for long range in a much more effective way than with the Requiem kit. I am still using the 2.5 times Eagle Eye optic, the 60 round extended mag. High grain on here, obviously the recoil cons don't matter. We're up to an 1100 velo. That's perfect for the hit scan range. great effective damage range as well. The precision barrel on here helps out even more with range and velocity. I don't really care about the control benefits, of course. And then again, sonic suppressor on here for that better velocity, slightly better range on there too. So this is really optimized for this hyper burst mode. It's been like this for some time, but this is a ridiculously effective gun if you're good with like the semi-auto style weapons. After that, we've actually got the STB-556 from MW2, and this is just the straight base weapon. This ends up being one of the easiest weapons to use in the game just in its natural form. It's still a little bit limited with its magazine capacity. Obviously, only 42 rounds is not great, but also it's got that MW2 weapon feel with the firing aim stability, the visual recoil, the weird handling. So it has its cons, but for the sake of low recoil, this is a very easy gun to use. I mean, look at the recoil pattern here. Basically straight vertical, and then it dips up and to the right. That is so easy to consistently control and stay accurate with, and basically turn it into a no recoil style gun as soon as you muscle memory into this recoil pattern here. Really maximize that and learn that, and you'll be good to go after you've memorized that fully. And then this thing turns into an absolute laser beam as well. So as far as this setup goes, again, we've got the 2.5 times Eagle Eye, that 42 round extended mag as mentioned. Like, that's a pretty quick fire rate. 740 is not bad. So when you do only have 42 rounds, it's somewhat noticeable, but the damage here is still pretty great. So you'll be able to knock players very easy. I got the rear guard on here. This actually doesn't help with your control, but just your range and velocity, which is obviously pretty clutch. We got Spirit Fire Suppressor. This does help out with control on top of range and velocity, and of course keeps you off the map. And then I like Bruin Heavy Support on here. You could also try the angled underbarrel too if you don't want like the ADS speed con, but I think the recoil gun kick is nice here. Obviously attacking the horizontal control, making the pattern a lot more predictable here. Ends up being a very easy weapon to use, as we saw within the firing range there. So don't sleep on this thing. Yes, it's an MW2 gun, but it is very effective. Hey folks, wanted to take a quick second and talk about Gamer Advantage. If you've been around the channel for some time now, you know about GA. You guys know in every single video, I am rocking these. And even when I'm not recording, I'm just sitting here gaming, I'm watching TV, whatever the case is, I got these things on because truly they are game changers. If you're trying to sleep better at night, reduce eye strain or your headaches, you got to get yourself a pair. They offer prescription or regular lenses, so something for everyone. They've got you covered there. A bunch of different colorways and frame options so they can rock with your style there too. If you're interested at all in picking up anything from the Gamer Advantage site, be sure to toss in code Immortal at checkout, and that'll get you a nice little discount. The link for that's going to be down below in the description if you're interested. And then lastly, here we've got the Pulemyot 762 with the conversion kit, one of the OG weapon metas from the launch of Warzone 3. This thing's been slowly creeping back up into the meta, and I love it because I just love the feel of this thing, and it's also ridiculously easy to use as well, right? Again, not controlling the recoil pattern. We're not going to go through all 100 rounds here, but it's essentially a straight vertical recoil pattern, so all you got to do is pull back, and you're pretty much going to be dead accurate. There's like no visual shake here. This thing is so easy to stay on target with, which I love. So even though it doesn't have the craziest TTK in the world, because you're going to be so accurate with this thing, you can end up having one of the more competitive TTKs realistically because you factor in accuracy, right? So this thing ends up being a ton of fun as well. Obviously, we've got that Annihilator bullpup on there. This helps out a lot with the control, but then changes the dynamic properties of the weapon as well. We got the recoil reduction stock on here, which is from the aftermarket parts, so better control there. 2.5 times Eagle Eye yet again. Annihilator long barrel actually is just for range and velocity, but this gun's so easy that this is a nice way to optimize it for mid to long range. Then we got the Spirit Fire Suppressor yet again. Range velocity control keeps us off the map. So between all these options, if you're looking for a gun you can just pick up, you don't really have to memorize a pattern for too long. Some of them you don't have to memorize a pattern at all with. These are phenomenal options for anyone looking for just an easy to use, effective, competitive meta option. That said, that's going to wrap things up. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to drop a like. And if you're new here, hit that subscribe button on your way out so you can always guarantee you are up to date with everything going on in Call of Duty. But once again, thank you so much for tuning in. And until next time, take it easy, have an awesome rest of your day, and I'll catch you later. Peace out.